Good day, good day. We're the group 3. We're going to discuss private versus public digital self. So, let's begin. First, the learning objectives. So, to know what is the definition of digital self and to understand the differences between private digital self versus public digital self. So, before we can proceed to public versus private digital self, um, we're gonna go through first the broad topic, which is digital self. So, digital self, the persona you use when you're online. So, this is kind of a character that you portray online, which is not the same in the real world self. So, some people maintain one or more online identities that are distinct from the real world self. So, some people like the shy type kind of a person um, wants to be another person, so they act as another person online, which can express some of their characteristics which cannot be shown by them personally. So they went online just to show some of their characteristics. So it exists across whatever mediums, websites, and services you use. So like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and a lot more. So you can be whoever you want and however you want it. It all depends on you and how you use yourself. I use your account. So these bits are pieces together to form a whole picture of what it means to be you or some aspect of you. So um, some of us have characteristics that we are shy to show others personally and also online. So we are shy that our friends might judge you. So that's why you you act as another you act as another you online, and that way you can show you who you really are without minding their judgment based on what you post, what you are online. So that is digital self. So it is the persona or a character that you use online.
Your online identity is not the same as your real-world identity because the characteristic you represent online differs from the characteristic you represent in the physical world. So this means that whenever you present yourself in the online world or whatever you represent yourself in the online world, that differs from the characteristic and personality you represent in the physical world. It doesn't. It means that your online identity is different from your characteristic of what you present in the online world. But online identity is also important because it provides platform for people to express their feelings and show different sides of their personalities and different sides of themselves. You have an online presence that can be traced back to you in the real world. A digital identity is a body of information about an individual, organization, or electronic device that exists online. So, digital identity is an information of an entity used by computer system to represent an external agent. That agent is that agent may be a person or an individual or an organization. Unique identifiers and use patterns make it possible to detect individual or their self. Unique digital identifiers is an electronic device, the equivalent of an individual's identity card. This certificate is used to confirm the public key belongs to a specific individual.
Good morning, everyone. I am James Maxi F. Estrada, and so for today, I will be discussing about the public digital self. So what I put in my presentation is actually the concept of digital self, but it is somewhat related to public digital self. So the digital self is the persona you use when you're online. So from the word itself, digital, meaning it's about our social media accounts and even our different networking sites. Like, diba? We have several social media accounts man, like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and so on. So we can't really deny the fact na what we post on Facebook is sometimes very opposite in real life. Let's say, for example, I tend to be sharing memes or throw jokes on my Facebook status, but yet in real life I am very an introvert person. So many people can relate to this. So moving on to the next bullet is people maintain one or more online identities that are distinct from their real world self. So this statement is somewhat similar to the first one. So ang mga tao kuno kay bisan unsa nila ka chatty or a very active in social media's accounts, like they also have a characteristics na different in real world. Like lahi ra jud sila in real life. Di ba? Daghan magkaingon nga quote na don't let social media fool you, because not everything manggod na gina-post nila sa social media accounts kay ang ingana pud ang ilang actions in real life. So as you can see in the picture below, these are also examples of the public digital self.
Public self. Public self, information about the self or an integrated view of the self that is conveyed to others in action, self-description, appearance, and social interaction. An individual's public self may vary depending on the target or audience or such impressions. The public self is often contrasted with the private self, which may be similar to or different from the self one reveals to others. See also social identity, social self.
Digital self. So what is digital self? So the digital self is the persona you use when you're online. Some people maintain one or more online identifiers that are distinct from their real-world selves. Others have a single online self that's more or less the same as the one they inhabit in the real world. So, the digital self is the persona you use when you're online in the social media. Some people maintain one or more online identities, but the persona they use is not the real thing from the real world. For example, in the Facebook, you have a friend and you know what he or she looks like, and if it comes to the Facebook, his or her persona is not the same in the real world. But there are other people that have a single online self that's the same as the one they inhabit in the real world.
Private self. Private self is the part of the self is that known mainly to oneself, such as one's inner feeling self and self-concept. It may be similar to or different from the public self. One rebels to others, and see also social identity, like for example, inner feeling self. Your inner self is who you really are on the inside. To know your inner self is to know your purpose, like values, vision, goals, motivation, and beliefs, not what you have been told by others, but what you have discovered for yourself. Knowing your inner self requires a high level of introspection and self-awareness. And the last one is self-concept. What is self-concept? Self-concept is who we think we are, the picture we have of ourselves, plus the picture we think others have of us. Self-concept plays an important part in our overall wellness. And it affects the ways we look at our body, how we express ourselves and interact with our other friends. And it even influence and how we make your decisions to your friends, and that's all.
The importance of private self. Private self-consciousness is associated with better access to self-knowledge and a greater interest in new self-knowledge, regardless of whether that knowledge is positive. As a result, the self-knowledge of people high in private self-consciousness plays a more prominent role in their behavior. So, ang kanideng kuan private self kay importante kinis to kay grabe yung kini siya og role sa atong self consciousness og ang kaning kuan po day ang private self kay mo-associate siya og mga self knowledge o bisag unsay imong gusto kung ang epekto ba niya kay self anang negative ba or positive sa knowledge sa imo result o hindot pwede na kay makakuan kag maka-experience kag mga greater interest sa kaning private self nimo ug ang private self day kay prominent din sa atong mga behavior day so mao na.
So, digital literacy, the capabilities possessed by individuals who are living, learning, and working in a digital society. So, as you know, younger generations are more digitally literate compared to the older generations, especially in this era, because this is the time wherein we really see a great transitions from an age where people don't really use technology that much to an age wherein social media have a lot of effects on our personality, attitude, and behaviors. So, digital literacy is something that we use when we use social media. It is also important when we say, for example, utilize different websites. So, I think it's important for us that this age to be digital literate because technology is not just for fun, but rather in today's time, we need to be digital literate because we need to know these things when we are at work and when we try to process our government documents. So we can now do these things online, and the mere facts that we do these things online allows us to be able to save our efforts, save our time, and to be faster on our transactions. Its advantage is that it provides us connectivity to people digitally. However, we sacrifice our face-to-face and human interactions. There are things that we can now do online, but there are also things that is not advisable to do online. So as much as possible, I want you to be digitally literate because there are a lot of crimes happening online. Example of that is exploitation, human trafficking, and some of them is being recruited by the strangers and being recruited to the people they know. So it is important not just for children but also for parents to be digital literate so that we can monitor the informations that we encounter online and protect ourselves from different possible things that may happen to us or to our family. For example, there are people who pretend to be someone else and then they're going to ask for money. So, if you are not digital literate, you are not going to be able to verify these informations. Other than, you also need to be digital literate for you to manage your bank accounts. So, digital literacy is not something bad as it was viewed by the generations before us. And I also think that as of this time, that they also realize that technology is not that bad after all. And we don't just use technology just for fun and leisure, but rather we use technology because it makes work easier and it makes us become more productive in what we do. Thank you. Next.